Hi, good evening. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast. Tonight, Starmer is going to Brazil. Yes, where the nuts come from. Whilst Britain burns, it's clear. It's another strong indication that Keir Starmer is not on our side. And tonight, in this extra show, I'm going to show you why. So, he's jetting off to Brazil to be with Prince William to save the planet or save his career again. He loves strutting it, doesn't he, on the international stage, whilst at home, Britain is burning. Let's look at what's happened just this week. Our borders are wide open, our streets aren't safe, and Keir Starmer thinks it's a good idea to pose for photos halfway round the bloody world. He is not on our side. And tonight, I, Jon Gaunt, I'm going to prove it. Put your comments down in the comment box. We'll come to them in a moment. So, let's be straight. How about this? How about protecting our people, Keir? How about protecting people who work in asylum hotels from getting stabbed 19 times in the head and in the heart by some mental migrant? How about even talking about that, Keir? You haven't commented. How about stopping the boats? The so-called, or I've called them, flip-flop warriors. Thousands are getting into our country. And what are you doing about it? Oh, it's one in, one out. Well, it's not, because I think we've sent back under 50 and thousands have come during that period alone. It doesn't work. And now the French are saying when we send them back, they won't give them a house. So guess what they're doing? The flip-flop warriors are jumping in another boat and coming back again. The hokey-cokey migrant who went, got money to go, then has come back. He's still here 2 weeks later. Keir Starmer has done nothing. He's about as much use as a chocolate fireguard. So how about just doing something, Keir? Anything. Have a policy that works. Have a policy that looks like you've got a pair of balls. Look at the savage murders and attacks we've seen this week. A man's walking his dog, and an Afghani is accused of stabbing him to death in the street. I've seen the video. It's sickening. And no doubt you have as well. What have you said about that murder, Keir? Jack all. You'd rather go and play a global statesman. You're desperate for applause from the climate change is going to kill us. Well, it might, but it ain't going to kill us today, is it? On the mean streets of Britain that you've helped create. How many more migrant, vicious crimes are you going to accept before you realise you cannot keep letting in undocumented men of fighting age that you haven't got a clue about? How many more Brits have got to die? There's been 352, I think it is, court cases involving migrants, Keir. What are you doing about it? Where's the deterrence? Deterrent even. There isn't one, is there, Keir? And still they come. But you think, oh, I'll go over there and have a photo opportunity. As if I'm the great train robber. You're going to be going loco down in Acapulco, are you, Keir? Huh? Is that what you fancy, getting yourself on the beach at Rio, Keir? Huh? Is that what it's all about? You're an absolute disgrace. And then, of course, you're up all night, 2 nights on the trot, trying to defend your useless, corrupt, law-breaking, criminal Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves. There's no two ways about it. She has broken the law and you've defended her. And it's obvious why. because she's going to be the fall guy when the budget comes out. When you're back from going loco down in Acapulco with Prince William with your little budgie smugglers on, ooh, suit you, sir. You're going to come back, aren't you? And you're then going to have the budget. She'll get sacrificed, mark my words, and you'll try and cling on till Christmas. You're like a book, like my mum used to say. I can read you like a book. You're just having to get past this weekend because the thing that you're going to, the Earthshot Conference, whatever it's called, COP30, COP a load of bollocks as far as I'm concerned, it starts on November the 5th. So I think that's next Thursday, isn't it? Bonfire night. You're going to be over there with Prince William. We're going to have fireworks here. And what's going to happen is you just had to get through this weekend so that you didn't have to answer any more questions. How much longer are you going to hide in your bunker? And then, to add insult to injury, Keir, you've gone and given us another lecture about what being a patriot is. He's got his video. Have you seen it? Loads of different people, nurses and stuff. Just, it's like cliche city, right? Of what a patriot is. I don't need lessons in being a patriot from you because you're not on our side. You're anti-British. You're definitely anti-white. You've got the problem, Keir, and you are triggering us. Well, congratulations. You've certainly triggered me. I am absolutely fuming at what you're doing to our great country. Absolutely fuming. Guys, if you agree with me, get in the comments box now and start giving me your views. If you're watching this later, that's perfectly okay, or listening on a podcast as well. This is an extra show. Don't forget, you should follow me on Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. That's the best way to keep up with what I'm doing. Always there. Subscribe. It's completely and utterly free. So, Keir Starmer, what a disgrace. He hasn't even sacked the crooked Chancellor. Can't you see what's happening? Can't you see what's happening? He wants to protect everybody. Oh, we'll send troops to die against the Russians to protect Zelensky in the Ukraine. How about protecting our people, Keir Starmer? How about stopping the boats once and for all? How about doing something, anything, about these vicious migrant, savage murders that are happening all over Britain? The lady at the train station in Walsall stabbed to death by a migrant. The man walking his dog, the dustbin man, just 2 days ago, stabbed repeatedly about 19 times in broad daylight. Why aren't you talking about this, Keir? What about the chap goes to the bank to get out the wages for his staff and his small business, and he gets stabbed to death by, guess what, everyone? No prizes. Another illegal immigrant. You can't keep letting people in. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm in favor of well-controlled, managed immigration. But this is not well-controlled. It's not managed. It's just who can get in a dinghy and get in here. Reports now that organized criminals are coming in. This country is literally being given away, not sold out, given away by Starmer. This government has no moral compass. They got elected on a manifesto of change. The only thing they've changed is every fucking promise in the manifesto. They started off by attacking Rachel Reeves, attacking the winter fuel allowance for many millions of pensioners. Then they started on the farmers. Then they started on the students. Then they start on the working people, although they can't define what working people is. But of course, he's the son of a tool maker. Well, actually, the bloke who owned the tool making factory. They're the facts. The man is a cheat. The man is a charlatan. The man is basically a crook. Look at the freebies that they all took at the beginning. And then Rachel Reeves now, after a whole succession of cabinet colleagues who've had to resign or be sacked, Angela Rayner not paying the right stamp duty, the fraud minister getting done for fraud or investigated for it back in Pakistan. Who can forget Louise Haig with the purple hair and the mobile phone that mysteriously disappeared, then came back again, and she ended up with talking to the police. And now we've got Rachel Reeves. Her story doesn't add up. She says on one level, oh, yeah, well, I didn't know we had to have it. But that all changed overnight to, yes, we did. And he spent 2 nights trying to defend her rather than defend girls, women, mums, daughters, your children from being or raped, sexually abused or murdered in the streets of Britain. Britain is burning. Britain is broken. And what's he done? I'll tell you what he's done. He's going to Rio. He's going loco down in Acapulco. Meanwhile, ordinary Brits can't afford to heat their homes. They can't trust the streets at night. And you can't get a doctor's appointment. But Starmer thinks it's more important to talk now about saving the rainforest. It's a complete disconnect. And that's what I want to talk to you about tonight. Let's rip into his hypocrisy. I'm taking your comments live. I want to hear from you. You, the people who live in the real world, not the Westminster bubble. Please remember, hit the like button. Share the stream. Let's get into it. It's an extra show, so I'm not expecting millions of people to be watching tonight. But I couldn't stay quiet over the weekend about this because I think he's giving away Britain. Are you with me or are you against me? If you like what I'm doing and you'd like to donate, simple. Press the $sign on the YouTube video or just below it. Or alternatively, go to www.buymeacoffee.com. This will not be a long show because I'm watching the City tonight on the telly. We're going to win again, obviously. We're going to thrash Wrexham. Those Hollywood superstars will send them back with their tails between their legs. But like me, are you completely disgusted by this government? Can you believe that he didn't sack her? Well, I don't know why I asked that question. Of course you can. Of course you can. They're a bunch of crooks. And people keep saying to me, what did you make of the Tories? Well, they were just as bad, but the way it's going, we got used to the fact that they were shysters. I thought he was going to be different, didn't you? He could stop the boats and empty the hotels overnight if he wanted to, says Gary Munnery. Thank you, Gary. He has no intention of sorting this out, and he's burying his head in the sand. Gary, thank you for your comments. Also got to say, Gary sent me a £5 donation, a coffee, just before the show started. So thank you very much indeed. Who's next? Stuart Lowe. Let's have it, John. Thank you, Stuart. Robin Scott says, Gaunt for MP. I wouldn't want to go there. I wouldn't want to get tainted by the rest of them. Self-serving pigs with their snouts in the trough is the way I've described them for centuries. And nothing that I'm seeing now makes any difference to that conclusion. If you want to talk about Rachel Reeves and the fact he's done jackal, let's talk about it. But what I want to talk about is his silence. He's ever so keen. Did you know when the mosque got attacked, which I thought was terrible as well, in Peacehaven, don't condone it at all, he went to see them. He even took Shabana Mahmood, the new Home Secretary, with him. And then, I don't know if it was straight away or a day or two afterwards, he gave £10 million to the Muslim community so they could protect themselves from being attacked. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the people who've been getting attacked are the Jews. Now we've got this huge demo being organised for Villa Park. That's the day after he's going loco down in Acapulco, isn't it? The 6th of November. They're bringing 250,000 radical Muslims to Birmingham to march on Villa Park, not to watch the game, because they've already got it effectively knackered, the game, because they've forced a position whereby Tel Aviv can't sell tickets to bring their fans. But now these mad mullahs, that's the only way to describe them, they're like a paramilitary organisation. Have you seen it? They're marching on the Villa. Where's Starmer? Where is he? Collecting his air miles as per usual. Hidden agenda. Is he an A1? What's an A1, Terry? I don't understand any of that nonsense. Stuart Lowe. No, this is live, real. Jog G. What does that mean? Have we just got arseholes listening tonight? Listen, let's have some sensible comments. Try and make a sense. I'm doing an extra show for you and I'm not feeling well. I don't need no hassle. Craig Urquhart. Does my box in when the media insists on calling them irregular? Yeah, you're talking about the illegal immigrants. Yeah, they've changed the term, haven't they, to irregular immigrants, migrants. They're not irregular. You're right, Craig. They are illegal. They are criminals. They are crooks. The media are part of this, though. They're part of what's going on. They're determined to change Britain. Look at, I don't know whether you know, but the news that broke just as I was about to come on this afternoon, the MP for Coventry, for Fosal Road and for the Gaza Strip, Zara Sultana, yeah, fruit and nut I'd call her, but she's just said in an interview with the BBC that Nigel Farage is like Hitler. He's a fascist. This kind of left-wing bullying or rhetoric has got to stop. You don't have to agree with Nigel Farage, but suddenly calling him a fascist, especially when you know 250,000 radicals are being mobilised to march on Villa Park when they play Tel Aviv. I don't know what the march is about. Is it about Palestine? Is it about free Palestine? Would somebody just give them a fucking free Palestine? Oh, it's not a choice. I understand. But you know what I'm saying? How much longer is this going to go on? I'm worried. And that's why at the moment what we need is a tough leader, a firm leader, a sense of direction, a rallying leader who says, come on, we're going to fight this all together. We haven't got it. He's going loco down in Acapulco. Musical man guitar. I've lost trust in the entire establishment, John. From my perspective, the social contract has been torn up by the uni party. I no longer consent to be governed by these vile creatures. That's where they wanted to push you, I think. And it would appear they've succeeded, musical man. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Denise Deacon says, his silence speaks volumes. He's fiddling while Rome burns comes to mind. Well, he's not even doing that, is he? He's not even doing that, Denise. Denise also goes on to say, Zara Sultana is being reckless with her words. Yeah. The people of Coventry should get a recall petition up and boot her out. She's no longer part of the Labour Party. I mean, she got elected because she was a Labour politician. As long as you've got a red rosa on in Coventry in a general election, you'll get voted in. I don't think we've had a Tory since, was it John Butcher? Years ago. But she then fell out with Starmer, and now she's part of this new party or whatever it's called with Jeremy Corbyn. But today she has gone on the BBC and said that Farage is Hitler. We've got to be worried about that. That can't be right, can it? It can't be right. Very quiet on the comments. Let's have some more, otherwise I'll just stop. Let's go to Musical Man Guitar. The one thing is they are not irregular. They're unfortunately as regular as clockwork. You are right, my friend. Regular as clockwork turning up at the beaches of Dover. Correct. Absolutely correct. Let's look at some tweets here. I said earlier to Starmer, I've had a massive response to this. How about protecting our people, Keir Starmer? How about stopping the boats? How about commenting on the savage murders this week? How about dealing with domestic issues? No, you're too busy jetting off to Brazil to save the planet, aren't you? And then I just wrote clown. As I say, I got a huge response. And that's what prompted me to think, well, I'll do a quick podcast, see whether people want to talk about this tonight or not. It would appear most people are getting themselves ready for the big game, Coventry City versus Walsall. While I'm here as well, I also want to talk about Andrew, Prince Andrew. What do you make of all that? What do you make of all that? What is that all about? The only new house he should be looking at is a 6x6 cell in New York or in America, and him actually being tried for the crimes that he's accused of. Don't get me wrong, I've got no sympathy for him. I think he is a filthy pedo. But Charles is just protecting the royal family. And when he moves to Sandringham, it's not as if he's going to be living on his uppers, is it? He should go to America. The Queen, God bless her soul, she should have forced him to go to America while she was still alive, even though he was her favourite son. He should be tried for these crimes. And of course, now the main accuser of him has committed suicide. But it needs to be sorted. And I've got to say this next thing as well, which may well upset some of you. It's highly ironic that King Charles is taking this very principled decision, which is really about saving the royal family. But Charles's mentor when he was a child, of course, was Lord Louis Mountbatten, who the IRA savagely murdered many years ago. But Mountbatten was a paedophile, wasn't he? That was always the story about him. We all know the establishment is riddled with these men, which is why I get upset when when one talks about the Pakistani Muslim or rape gangs like they did on Question Time the other night with sharp intake of breath. And they also imply that we white people never want to talk about that. Well, I'm quite willing to talk about that and white paedophiles. As I've said before, I'd string them all up by their ghoulies off the nearest lamppost. I have to move the Union flag to one side to do it. But that's what I think. Paedophilia is a heinous crime. There's no excuse for it. But have you noticed on the lamestream now, there's a little bit of people coming through saying, oh, I feel a bit sorry for Andrew because he hasn't been found guilty in a court. Well, only because he didn't go to a court, because he, the Queen, King Charles, Prince Charles as he was, and the Queen paid $12 million to his main accuser. He thought it was going to go away. And I'll tell you the other weird thing about this whole story about Epstein and the rest of them. The only person who's, I know Epstein's dead, but the only person now in prison about it is a woman. That says something as well, doesn't it? I don't know. I just think this week has been such a weird, horrid week. We've had the killings, as I say, by the migrants. We've had Andrew and Charles, what's going on there. That sickens me as well. Where's this country going? How can we still call it Great Britain? How can we call it united? We're clearly not, excuse me, united. I'm going to stop in a minute because I'm getting a bit down. I don't want to be down tonight because tonight's the glorious night where Coventry march on for world domination. Put me a bit of slack on this one, please. But I want your views. Let's just finish in a moment. Michael Yates. I remember from school Hitler was a socialist and not a conservative. He certainly was. National Socialist. He also hated Jews. He's more in common with the left rather than the right. He was just a monster, Michael. But I thank you for your comments. I know you're obviously having a go at Zara, which is fine. You're playing Wrexham, my friend. I hope you do them. I did say Wrexham, didn't I? Did I say somebody else? No, it's Wrexham. Anyway, if I did, it was a mistake. I'm not very well. I'll blame it on the paracetamol. Although, do you know what? I've gone 2 days now without a paracetamol. Does anybody want to say anything about Andrew before I go, or the royal family? I'll take a comment on it if you want, but otherwise I'm going. How does chopping down a rainforest to build a runway for thousands of something wombles to turn up to a conference and achieve nothing to help the climate? Exactly. I found it so ironic that Starmer's going to save the world. He's off to do it, but he's doing it on his private jet. What else do you expect? Stelmo Bod, I'm not going to read yours out because it's nonsense. You can't possibly justify what you've said. If you want to publish slander and libel, go and do it somewhere else. It seems to me that since the Queen died, this country has gone to pot, in my opinion, says Maggie Morley. It certainly has. Were they waiting for her to pass? That's an interesting comment. Oh, here we go. Here's the lefty twat. When will the pedo president get hauled into court? Andrew wasn't the only friend of Epstein. The pedo press admitted tapping up small girls. No, he never. All the evidence that's come out so far does not indicate the filth that you're coming out with. So Chris Barrett, 8020, I would consider what you're saying before you do it, before you write up more filth, particularly on my programs. Thank you. You're talking garbage. Walsall, but you're my vintage. 64, excused. Did I say Walsall instead of Wrexham? Oh, I do apologise. That's probably because I was thinking about that woman who was brutally murdered there. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, here we go. Listen, let me just tell you that Chris Barrett, the one who's just accused the president of the free world of being a paedophile, he says, Putin's got the evidence. Fuck off. Get off. Because you haven't got the evidence. You can't back it up. You need to understand what slander and defamation is, you idiot. Denise Deacon says the royal family died with the Queen, in my opinion. I think I'd have to agree with you. I am a royalist. I think we need to keep the royal family. But it's a real testing time at the moment, isn't it? It's a real testing time. Because you've got to look at Charles, and again, with all due respect, why didn't they do anything before? It was all about they didn't want to upset the Queen. But, oh, hold on a minute. We're talking about child abuse. We're talking about girls being raped. This is from Anthony Taylor, 8279. Evening, John. Enjoying your content. Thank you very much indeed. Musical Man says, I've got no sympathy for Andrew. At the end of the day, with or without a conviction, he's proven to be an awful human being. Well, certainly when you read these stories, he's got this enormous sense of privilege, isn't he? As if we're the little people and he can do whatever he wants. Do you remember when he was dashing Prince Andrew, though? He was like the sex symbol. I'm not going to say the next line. We'll leave it there. Right, that's me done. Thank you. No one's donated, but never mind. Maybe it wasn't good enough. I accept that. It was very short notice. Thank you for joining in. If you're listening or watching again on repeat, thank you. Don't forget to also press the like button. And don't forget to go to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. That's my channel. And when you do go there, subscribe. It's free, but subscribe because it all helps my numbers. So if you could do that, that would be a good thing to do this weekend. I will be doing a show Sunday afternoon. Not sure what time yet. That's when I'll next be on. Tomorrow, I shall be luxuriating in the aftermath of another 3-0 victory at least for the mighty Sky Blues. So, Niven Casey, you're a bit late. He says, hi, John, Zara Sultana. A case of the pot called in the kettle black. Absolutely. I think the heckling of Charles the other day was the final straw, says Maggie Morley. Yeah, maybe that's why he thought, right, now I've got to deal with Andrew. Just horrid. The whole thing's horrid. You almost feel dirty talking about it or thinking about it. I mean, as I say, I still think we're better off with the royal family. But Charles has got some job on now, hasn't he? Anyway, so that's that. If you want to donate some cash, feel free. Go to www.buymeacoffee.com or alternatively, click the dollar sign underneath the YouTube video. Maybe my cough's telling me you didn't need to do this today, John. So anyway, that's me done. You've had half an hour. It's half an hour bonus. I shall speak to you Sunday, definitely on Monday at 6:30. Until we meet again, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Have a great Friday night. And don't forget to tell your children, hold them tight when you do this. Tell them you love them. They need it. Cheers. Bye.